Hello and welcome back to this course. In this video, we are still working with the string data type in Python. And in this very video, we are going to be working with string formatting. So what is string formatting? Well, in a very simple term, string formatting simply means to dynamically insert data into your string variable or your string data. For instance, I want to write a piece of text. So I'm going to call it text and I'm going to just set it to some random text that says this is a piece of text. So if for any reason you want something like this number 20 to come into this text, right? And it is in relation to this age. So not just that you want 20, a random 20 to be there, you want the 20 to be related to this age. What you can do is that you pass in this age here, right? So now there are different ways we can do this. First of all, I'm going to write a comment here that says string formatting. First of all, I am going to list the different ways you can format your string. First of all, we can do that by using the f string method. The second one is by using the dot format method. Well, there are other types, there are other methods, which includes by using the percentage formatting and by using the template method or the template module. But these methods are quite outdated, okay? They are the very oldest method of formatting string. So for this video, we are going to be looking at how to use the f string and how to use this dot format method. So now I'm going to start with f string. And how do we use it? We simply use it by passing an f, just the small letter f value in front of your string text, right? So I want to demonstrate something without this f. I'm going to just write something. I'll just write double curly braces and I'll write in age here. All right. Then I'm going to print text. So you know we always write this print text statement to see what the program actually looked like. Okay, when we declare the program or we wrote a program, what is the result, what is the effect of that program? So I am going to save this and I'm going to run. So and now we say this is a piece of age text, so it is not yet relating to this age. It has not figured out that we are talking about this age here. So but when you add this f value here, as you can see, the color is changing and it is saying that okay, we are referring to a variable here called age. So I'm going to clear the output and I'm going to run this again. Okay, so I'm going to clear the output and I'm going to save and run this again. So you can see now that we have, this is a piece of 20 text, right? So whatever be the value of age here, so if I write 17 and I save, whatever be the value of age here becomes the becomes the what we see is what we see on the output. Okay, so another real life example of this string formatting is that probably you have a program or an application whereby you want at every instance that whenever somebody logs into the first text there will be to say hello, the name of the user, right? I'm going to demonstrate that a bit. I'm just going to write a text that outputs greeting to the screen. I'm going to comment this out. So right now I'm going to set this variable to greeting. And I'm going to set it to the string hello. I'm going to write in my name, Perpetua. So this is the behavior that you expect from your computer or from your program. For instance, at every time that this program is run, I want this greeting to be outputted on the screen. So I'm going to type in greeting here and I'm going to save and run this program. So here I have hello Perpetua. But then what happens to a situation whereby we have other users that are not Perpetua, right? So for instance, before the greeting comes in, I'm going to set a user variable to an input field. So, and I'm going to type in what will show on the screen. So I'm going to say, please enter your name. So, and I'm going to save this. I'll clear the screen and then I'll run it. So now the first thing that happens, the first print statement that happens out of this is that it says, please enter your name. So let me try entering my name. I am not able to type in text because we are using this code runner to output a data to the screen. So what we can do is to stop this program, because at this point this program is still running. Okay, this program is still on this and is still running. So what we can do is come to this extension tab, we go to code runner and we disable it. So after we disable it, we'll restart the extension. So you can see that the extension is still installed, but it is not working at this point. So we would still run this code, but we are not going to, the output is now going to come on this terminal tab directly, and by so doing we'll be able to type in our name. Okay, so again I'm going to close this and I'm coming to this place. I'm going to run it. So now the program says, please enter in your name. So I'm going to enter in my name. And this time around, I am not going to type in Perpetua. I'm going to say Joy. So, so it still says, hello, Perpetua, right? Because we have not linked this greeting to the owner or the person, that the name that is entered from the program. So I'm going to clear the terminal. And this time around, I am going to do what we did earlier. I'm going to pass in this F here. And here, I'm going to pass in the user variable. Okay, so I'm going to open and close my curly braces and I'm going to pass in user and I'm going to save it. So let's run the program again. So it says enter your name and I'm going to enter in Rita. And now it says hello Rita. Okay, so right now I'm going to give space here, so that, because as you can see our output is clustered. So I'm going to clear this terminal and I'm going to run it again, and I'm going to write in another name, Sarah, and I'm going to hit enter, and now you have hello Sarah, right? So this is how to dynamically insert data into your string. Okay, so this hello is still a string, and then every other thing that is enclosed in this thing, within this quotes, that are all strings. But then we are getting this user dynamically, that whatever be the user's name or whatever it's entered as the value of the user, we'll be able to output it alongside the string that we have. Okay, so I'm going to go back and run our code runner again. So I'm going to go back and enable our code runner again. So I'm going to enable it and clear my terminal. So I'm going to close this and this please too. So, and let's run it to make sure that our code runner is still working. Okay, our code runner is back. So I'm going to stop the program. Now this is a simple demonstration of how string formatting works. We already talked about the different ways that we can format our string, and this particular one is an example of using the F string. So now there are other ways we can actually format string. I'm going to add more text to this greeting variable, and I'm going to write something like your balance is. So for now, I'm going to enter this balance variable here, although I've not created it. I'll be creating it in a bit. So, and here I'm going to also create the balance variable. So balance, I'm going to set it to an input field again. Okay, and I'm going to convert that input to an integer. So I'm going to write int, and in here for the input I'm going to write a string. Please enter your balance. Okay, now again I'm going to deactivate my code runner, and I'm going to save and run this program. So please enter your name. So I'm going to just write a name, MDK, and then I'm going to enter a balance for this particular user. And this, let's say this user has 10,000. You can say, hello MDK, your balance is 10,000, right? So that is our output. Now, we know that when you want to format a large number, right? A large figured number. So I just entered 10,000 and the entire zeros were clustered. So assuming I want that a comma to appear in between the zeros at intervals, at the right intervals. So what I can do is to come here and I'll write at the balance, because I'm working with an integer here. I'll write a semicolon and then I'll pass in a comma, right? The only thing that will happen here is that by default, Python is going to insert commas at intervals or at the right intervals for that particular integer. So I'm going to save this and I'll run this program again. So what is your name? The name is Charles. and enter your balance. Chelsea's balance is 10,000 again, or 100,000. Yes. So now we can see that the 100,000 has been nicely formatted, right? So this is another way that we can format string. So when you are working with integers, you can format them in different ways. Okay. Let's add another data that is a floating point, right? So I'm going to add another data, and this time around, I'm going to add like a height. So the user is going to enter the data. So I'm going to enter the input again, and I'm going to set it to a floating point. So float, and then cover this, enclose this in parentheses. And this time around, I'm going to enter another prompt. Please enter your height. Okay, so and I'm going to save. Now I'm going to extend this greeting message, and for the meantime, please, I'm going to print empty, like two empty spaces here, so that we'll have a space in between the program, the prompts, and the greeting. So I'm going to print another empty space here. So I can even print in something like multiple stars, right? So I'm going to save this, and I will run this program. Again, enter your name. I'm going to enter Favor, and then the balance is 20,000. So here we have Favor's greeting printed on the screen. So we have Favor's name, the balance, but I forgot to insert a field that is a placeholder for the height. So I'm going to just come in here and pass in my curly braces. I'm going to write the height variable here. Now I am going to write my semicolon again, and I'm going to write dot, and I'm going to write 3F. So at this point, what I want is that whatever is coming in as the height variable should be displayed in 3 float value. So we know that the float value is like a decimal place. So if you want something to be formatted to 1 or 2 or 3 decimal places, this is how to achieve that. Okay. So now I'm going to clear this, and I'm going to run again. So now I'm going to go again with Favor, go again with the balance and the height. And this time around, we have Favor, your balance is 2,000, 20,000. So I'm supposed to write like your height is, and your height is that. So whatever comes in as the height becomes what is printed. Okay. So these are the few things that we can achieve. Now, all of this that we did here, we can also achieve them with the dot format method. So you see this dot format method. Okay. This dot format method is also a method that is used for string data or for string variable. So, and how do we obtain that? Instead of writing this F, right, and on this greeting text, so I'm going to copy this text. I'm going to set this to greeting 1. So here we are printing greeting 1, and I'm going to create 3 of this. So the other one is going to be greeting 2, and the other one is going to be greeting 3. So, and I'm going to print all of them. So here we have the second greeting, and here for the third greeting. So now for the second greeting, I'm going to use the dot format method. So I'm going to remove this dot f string. I'm still going to leave this user, the balance, and the height variable there. But this time around, I'm going to write this dot string. At the end of this particular string, I'm going to write dot format. So, and here, now we can see that we are no longer using the f string. And this time around, we are going to define what we are going to be passing in into this place. So user here is going to be the user that we defined. We are telling Python that the user here is going to be the variable user here, okay? And comma, the balance is going to be the balance. Okay. So now I've set this user to be the user. So this user is for the one that is here, and this other user is this one. So for instance, I'm going to change this to name or something like that. Name 1. We already have a name variable up there. So I'm going to change this to name one. So this time around, so I'm going to change it to name one just to make reference to that. So I'm going to save. Then for this second one, we are also going to call that dot format, but this time around we are not going to set user to anything. We are just going to pass in the variables that we want in the order that we want them to be printed. Okay, so this time around I'm removing the f method 2, and I'm going to call it dot format, and I'm passing in, well, this time around we have changed it to name one in order to avoid errors. And the second data that we want there is balance, and the third data that we want there is the height. Okay, so from here now Python is going to go and pick the respective variables at the top. So here, instead of passing in name and user and all that, what we can do is to pass in the indexes of these name and balance and height. So we can say that the first one is of index 0, and we can write it there, and the second one is of index 1. So the formatting for that particular index is still there, and the third one, the formatting for that one is still there. So this is index 2, and now this is the first greeting, second greeting, third greeting. So I'm going to save this and run. So I'm still going to that, all using the same data. So the name now is favor again, and the balance is 20,000, and the height is 5.6. So you can see that the three of them has printed the exact same data. So you can see now that there are three different ways that we achieved the same thing. Okay, so when you are using the dot format method, there are two ways you can play with it, and when you are working with your string formatting, your f string, then this is the way to do it. Pass in the variable name and the type of formatting that you want on them. Then here you're also passing the type of formatting that you want on them, but this time around we are going to make reference to the user that you typed in that you're going to write here is this particular variable that you declared up here, and then the balance, now they have the same name, so I just have to alter that so that you see the difference. And then this one, we are using the indexes of the different arguments that you're passing in. So that is it for string formatting in Python, and see you in the next video.